Well, I was diagnosed in August of 2004, 3 days before my 50th birthday, with bilateral breast cancer. And as it turned out, it had spread on one side. I had a double mastectomy, but I had to have chemo and radiation. And I had a very competent oncologist, but I had no relationship with my oncologist. Leslie Coulter was working with my oncologist at the time, and Breast Cancer Supportive Care was a very new organization. And one of my friends had recommended it to me very highly, but I thought it was something that I would do after I was through my treatment. I actually got so that I came to look forward to my oncology appointments, hoping that my oncologist wouldn't be there and Dr. Coulter would. She was just so much more empathetic, and she actually asked me how I was feeling. I had a relationship with her, and I remember going in one time, and it was just before Christmas, and I actually ended up having my first blood transfusion 3 days after Christmas, and so I was pretty low, and I just started to cry, and she sat there with me, and for about half an hour. It was none of this, I need to go off and see the next patient, and she brought a nurse in, and then the nurse took me into another room, and Dr. Coulter kept coming back in, and so I actually started to see her then at Breast Cancer Supportive Care, and about 3 months in, I had an appointment with her one morning, and I wasn't feeling well the night before, but I didn't realize exactly what was happening. But anyway, I'd get up early in the morning, and I was nauseous, and I vomited, and I was freezing. And I got back into bed and said to my husband, I'm freezing. I'm just freezing. Can you just, I need to snuggle. I'm just really, really cold. And I get up again, and then I passed out in the bathroom. And so we were deciding, and I couldn't stand. So we were deciding what to do. And he said, well, maybe we should go to emergency. And I had an appointment at 9:15 with Dr. Coulter, and we just decided together that I would just hold on for an hour and would go and see her. Went into her office. She immediately took me into the room. She made me lie down. She did a couple of tests. She got me warm blankets. And then I just stayed there for the hour that it took her to get me admitted into the hospital. I had multiple transfusions, and she was there every day, a couple times a day, and she was just really fabulous. And so I continued to see her for about two and a half years, for 2 to 2.5 years. Yeah. I was not only comfortable, I felt like I was in good hands, and my husband did as well. And he was pretty impressed with what he saw. And they say any cancer is it's a family situation, and I know that my family really felt that way, particularly my husband. We have 3 daughters, and so we tried to keep their life as normal as possible. And our friends made that happen. We had people who drove them. They were competitive downhill racers who drove them. We picked them up and drive them out to COP, order music lessons. We had other friends who put a cooler on our front step and brought over a complete dinner Monday to Friday night, every night. I finally had to ask them to stop bringing it on Friday night because I had too many leftovers in the fridge. We just had so much support. But it does really affect your family. My mother was terminally ill with cancer at the same time. And I know my mom felt she really struggled with it. I do have a genetic mutation, so clearly that came from my mother. All 3 of my daughters have the same genetic mutation. Well, 2 of them are identical twins, so all 3 of them have it. My entire family, cousins, everybody's been tested, and it's my sister has it, my older brother has it. I was really driven by I needed to get home and see my mom. And I couldn't go because I couldn't travel. And then finally I went into a less dense phase of chemo, and I went through one cycle and then a second cycle, and then they said, okay, your blood's good, you can go. So I was on a midnight flight, and I went home for 10 days, and came back for my next chemo treatment, and my mom went into hospice care 2 days later, and all my other brothers and sisters had been home, and then she died 2 weeks later. Yeah, I was pretty messed up emotionally, and every time I thought about losing my mother, I would think about leaving my girls, and I couldn't sort anything out. So I did belong to a support group, which was very helpful, and I certainly would have used the services that are here today. Just having a doctor that I was comfortable with and could trust was really important. I could ask her anything, so she had all the time in the world for me. Knowledge is power, and so it was really important for me to get tested. I mean, and then we talked to our daughters, and it was their decision. They couldn't have it done. They had to be 18, but it was their decision, and they all said, "Nope, we'll do it." What that does is it puts you into a different pool. So we all see a geneticist every 2 years, and my oldest daughter is turning 25 in August, and she already has her first MRI booked. And yes, you have a higher risk, and maybe at someday they will have to make the decision whether or not they're going to take preventative measures. But they know, and they can make better decisions along the way. I was really sick with the chemo, and I felt really guilty that I remember saying to a friend of mine, I feel like everyone expects me to be like, I should get up out of bed every morning, I should put my Wonder Woman uniform on, and I should say, I'm going to beat cancer today. And I didn't feel like that at all. Like, it was I just kind of get through the day, like one more day. And funny, she gave me for Christmas that year, when I was at my worst, she gave me a Wonder Woman doll with a card on it that, like a Barbie, like sort of one of the Barbie dolls, it was Wonder Woman, and she said, rumor has it that Wonder Woman wants to be more like Andrea McManus. So I felt so pressured that I had to be strong and positive and happy and all of that, and I just felt rotten. So I guess I'm saying don't beat up on yourself. If you're having a bad day, have a bad day. You're allowed to have a bad day. So yeah, we were all just completely overwhelmed by what the outpouring of support and love and caring, and it was our family's own little Calgary flood. That was life changing. So it made me think about all the times where I should have reached out to someone, and I didn't because I was too busy. I grew up in Prince Edward Island, and I'm one of 7 children. We're all very close in age. So I came to Calgary when I was 21. Yeah, so I'm an East Coaster. I love Calgary, but I go to PEI every summer. I work in the nonprofit sector. I have a consulting practice. I do a lot of volunteer work. I guess that's my passion. I do a lot of volunteer work. So it's really what drove me, and every decision I made about my treatment was I would do it because I wanted to see my daughters graduate from high school. I wanted to see them graduate from university. I wanted to see them become adults, because I don't want to be defined by having breast cancer. Acceptance, actually, is what I'd say. The complete acceptance of whatever I was feeling or going through.